Hello, welcome to Levant TV Headlines. The Iraqi government is preparing its military forces for an assault on Mosul, which was taken by Islamic State militants during the group's blitz into Iraq from Syria last summer. Turkey has confirmed that Hayat Boumediene, the wanted partner of one of the gunmen behind the terror attacks in France, traveled through Turkey last week on her way to Syria. Security forces have raided Lebanon's notorious Rumia prison after discovering that inmates were linked to a deadly bomb attack last week. Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and Iraq's Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi have agreed to take tangible steps between Sunni and Shiite Muslims to reduce sectarian tensions in the region. And Germany's Chancellor Angela Merkel and most of her cabinet will join a rally for an open and tolerant Germany organized by Muslim leaders in Berlin tomorrow in the wake of the jihadist attacks in France. Now let's have a look at top headlines in today's newspapers in the Middle East. Starting from the UAE, the Khalij Times leads reporting that hundreds of thousands of people and dozens of world leaders marched together through Paris yesterday in an historic show of solidarity and defiance after terrorist attacks in the French capital Paris that claimed 17 lives. The paper also reports that the UAE cabinet has launched a national program for government communication to address national priorities and societal issues to realize positive changes in the people's behavior and lifestyles. The Egypt Independent leads reporting that a former aide to ousted Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi of the Muslim Brotherhood Islamist movement was released on Sunday for health reasons after 18 months in detention without charge. The paper also reports that US Secretary of State John Kerry that he and his Iranian counterpart would seek at their meeting on Wednesday to lay the ground for negotiations on Tehran's nuclear program to make greater progress. From Lebanon, the Daily Star leads reporting that Lebanese police entered Rumia prison in force, emptying out the prison's notorious Block B after intercepting calls between Islamist prisoners and members of the cell behind Saturday's suicide bombings in Tripoli. The paper also reports that the General Security has announced it had arrested 28 people last week for forging travel documents and others related to illegal entry to Lebanon. Now let's have a look at papers here in the UK. The Telegraph leads Middle East News reporting that Benjamin Netanyahu is facing a storm of criticism because of his embarrassing behavior at Sunday's mass solidarity march in Paris and his calls for French Jews to immigrate to Israel following last week's deadly attack on a Jewish supermarket. The Israeli Prime Minister was seen elbowing his way to the front of the parade of world leaders and also unsuccessfully tried to jump to the head of queue waiting for a bus that was to take guests to the starting point. The Guardian leads Middle East News reporting that the American-led forces launched 19 airstrikes against Islamic State militants in Syria and Iraq. Of the 10 airstrikes in Syria, 9 hit ISIS targets near the town of Kobani on the Turkish border, and the other Syria strike hit an ISIS position near Abu Kamal, close to Iraq. Also from the UK, the Independent reports that a woman has been turned away from a Jewish holy site in Jerusalem after attendants refused to let her in. Kay Long, a stylist from Tel Aviv, tried to visit the gender-segregated Western Wall with a friend and was turned away from both the women's and men's sections of the wall after attendants refused to recognize her as either male or female on account of her being transgendered. Now let's have a look at top MidEast headlines in international papers. From Germany, the Deutsche Welle leads Middle East News reporting that a court in Egypt has ordered the release of 26 men detained last month in a raid in a Cairo bathhouse after police had been informed of a suspected gay orgy. The 26 men were accused of debauchery and performing indecent public acts after they were arrested in a televised nighttime raid on a Cairo bathhouse on December the 7th. And finally, China's Global Times reports that several political factions, including Hamas movement, who met in Gaza yesterday, have called on the Palestinian Unity Government to prepare for holding the Palestinian elections. Leaders of Islamic State and Islamic and left-wing factions held a meeting in Gaza City upon Hamas' request to discuss what they termed the neglect of Gaza. And for more updates, please visit us on levant.tv. watching. Be sure to join us again tomorrow, and bye for now.